Checkpoint Charlie was the third crossing point into East Berlin from the west, along the infamous Berlin Wall.
It was the main international crossing point. So if you were in the Allied military, in uniform, or you were in a political department and you had the necessary number plates on your car or ID, that was the crossing point that you would use.
In 1961, the Communist East erected the wall that divided Cold War Berlin, initially catching Western nations by surprise.
You're probably thinking, well, if they're building this barrier and there's armed troops all over the border and they're supported with armoured cars, there's Russian tanks outside the city, are they actually going to take West Berlin as well? And that was the big fear at the time. But it soon became obvious to the Allies it was their own people they were trying to stop. So all the border guards that were there, they weren't pointing their guns at West Berliners. They had their backs to the West Berliners. They were actually guarding the workforce building the barrier and making sure none of the East Berliners were going to try and escape. That was their primary goal.
Former soldier Dave Butler spent many years stationed in Germany during the Cold War. As a young sergeant in 1978, he made regular crossings into East Berlin via Checkpoint Charlie.
Yeah, it's certainly the first time you did it. It was, there was a feeling of a bit of feeling of excitement because you were going through into what was then enemy territory. That was a pretty imposing place when you went to it. I mean, it was in a really nondescript sort of street, but then you were confronted by the British or the Allied side of the checkpoint. And then on the other side, you had the East German side.
Soldiers had to make the crossing in full military uniform and complete all the correct paperwork before being allowed in.
In fact, on one occasion, when I was over there, I was involved in a road traffic accident. A Trabant jumped a set of traffic lights and hit my car in the side. Luckily, it didn't ride it off and we were able to drive back over, but it did, for about an hour, cause a major hold-up, not only on this junction, but whilst the Royal Military Police came, the Soviets came, because the East Germans weren't allowed to deal with us. And I was escorted in my car. We limped back over Checkpoint Charlie.
Today, Checkpoint Charlie has been reborn as a tourist attraction, something that would have been unthinkable right up till the fall of the wall in 1989.
The East Germans just weren't prepared. So when the Soviets pulled the plug in 89, people power unleashed itself, and it's either they do what the Chinese had done that year and start shooting everyone to regain control, or they back off and let them through the checkpoints. It signified to the world that the Cold War, in their eyes, was over.
And in June 1990, what had been an enduring symbol of the Cold War for so many years was finally dismantled. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.